Lovers, thrill seekers, conversationalists, debate aficionados all across the fruited plain. You are tuned where every American is. You've heard what everybody thinks about the debate last night, but you don't know what to think yet because you haven't heard what I think. Right? Come on, admit it. You know that's true. Telephone number 800-282-2882 and the email address lrushmore@eibnet.com. You know, I thought about teasing you. And I thought about saying, you know what, I'm going to reserve my thoughts until I hear from you, because once I say something, there's nothing left to be said. And I thought that would be a dastardly trick. By the way, folks, I'm in a relatively good mood. I don't know what would spoil it. Maybe something could, but I love the kind of day we are having here. It's like nighttime out there. It is cloudy. It is rainy. It is so bad the direct TV signal's in and out. And I don't have a window. So I have to sit here and have that. That's for security reasons and distraction reasons. But, man, I love these kinds of days. Cozy. The only problem is it's like 110 degrees out there. You want a day like this to be in the 40s or 50s. Anyway, okay. I'll tell you here, just some stream of consciousness thoughts. Overall, and I'm going to back all this up with detail in a moment. The overall view of the night is that not a whole lot is going to change because of what happened last night. Not a whole lot. Meaning Trump's still going to be in the lead when it's all said and done. CNN's going to have had a huge audience. I'm now beginning to question about this. I'm not sure it's just Trump driving these audiences for these Republican debates. More on that as the program unfolds. But I mean, let me qualify that. If you're a Trump supporter, last night was no harm, no foul. Nothing happened last night to damage Trump significantly, and I don't think anything is going to. If Trump is to eventually fade away, it's not going to happen overnight anyway. It's not going to happen because of one thing. We know that now. There's no such thing as Trump stepping in it. It's going to, if there's anything that causes Trump supporters to leave it, I know that sounds like blasphemy to you Trump supporters, but if there's anything that's going to cause that to happen, I don't know what it is, but it's going to be slow and gradual. There's going to be this earthquake moment. And I say that because the regime in the Republican Party is looking for that to happen. I mean, the RNC, the Republican establishment, they want a singular event to happen that takes Trump out and be done with him. And I don't think that's going to happen. If there is to be, and I'm not predicting it, so don't, hold on to your cookies. I'm just saying if. If it happens, it's going to be gradual. I actually, watching that debate last night, I thought at times I was actually watching 11 of me. These people were fabulous last night on that stage. I mean, not everybody. There's some exceptions here and there, but, man, that was something to be proud of last night. You know that CNN went in there. I don't care what else they maybe want to take Trump out, but there's no way CNN wants our people to look good. I got so fed up, almost turned it off in the first hour. Every question was, all right, Ms. Fiorina, Mr. Trump said you're a little horse. What's your reaction? Mr. Trump, Ms. Fiorina, says you know what you're talking about. What's your reaction? Mr. Walker, Governor Walker, Rand Paul says that you don't even know what you're talking about. What is your reaction? Everything was, and I hate that. When I'm interviewed by the media and they throw critics, comments, and so screw this. Why do I have to respond to why don't you ask me a question that you actually want the answer to? Why to throw these other comments that these people I don't even care about? So another reason, one of the many, I stopped doing interviews with people. It's all it was. It just, and this debate last night started out that way, but these people rose above it. Chris Christie came out of the grave and once again sounded like a conservative last night. Carly Fiorina, she goes back. Carly Fiorina is a rhino in many ways. In her past, she was in the McCain campaign. She 2 years ago criticized Ted Cruz for government shutdown activity and so forth. And I've been touting Carly ever since this whole process began. She is obviously very smart and committed and energetic and so forth. And she's right on so much of what she says. And I remember touting her. She went back to it last night talking about the character of this country and how we're losing that when she brilliantly combined the answer to Planned Parenthood and Iran. I thought it was well done. It was very conservative. But Carly, you go back to 2008, and she was right in there with Meg Whitman and McCain and so forth, part of the Rhino Caucus. So but there's a lot of conservatism on that stage last night. I thought Marco was great. I thought Cruz was good, but I don't know. I feel uncomfortable here passing out advice. It's not my business, and why do they care what I think? So I just don't ask me about individuals. I mean, that's not where I want to go right now. We'll get to that. Some of them. Well, I am not the titular head of the party anymore. You can't. In no world am I the titular head of this Republican Party. I'm not the phony head. I'm not the real head. I'm not any. Or maybe the titular head of the conservative movement. But I just want to make some general observations here. I really thought that there was a lot of conservatives. There was a time I thought that I was watching 11 Rush Limbaughs last night. Trump, whatever else you want to say, has clearly moved many of the other candidates to the right, and not just on the subject of illegal aliens. You see how feathers got ruffled last night. Trump, if it wasn't word for me, nobody would be talking about it. Mr. Trump, we've been talking about this for 25 years, Mr. Trump. So they all, and Mr. Trump, you haven't been leading anybody in anything. We've been out here, we've been sweating, we've been toiling away, we've been working. Well, you're not leading anybody. But all that means is that there's now a genuine competition to move where? To the right. They might not be touting the word conservative. I was also pleasantly surprised by the number of people that tried to link themselves to Ronaldus Magnus last night, which makes sense because they were at the Reagan Library. I'm not complaining about this, by the way. I think it's great for the American public to hear conservatism being espoused. Even if for some people it's just a matter of political expedience. I'm not saying all of those people on the stage are genuine conservatives. Don't misunderstand. But I'm saying they were talking it. And it's great for the American people to see that compared to what exists on the other side. And that's why I say I'm not sure Trump is the only driver of ratings for these debates. Clearly a factor, don't misunderstand. But I'm wondering, with as much as we're learning of the dissatisfaction so many Americans have with the status quo, no matter what you say about low information voters, they still know that the Republican Party is the opposition party. What they think of it may be something we'd rather not deal with, but they know that it is. In other words, they know that if you want to go to find out what other people think about what's happening, the Republican Party's where to go. And so you have a debate on CNN last night of Republican candidates. It could well be, and I'm looking at this as a positive, folks, not trying to take anything away from Trump here, that there could be just a general wide and varied interest in anything other than what's going on now because there's so much dissatisfaction with it. And that could be a factor. Now, of course, as I predicted, CNN did their best to get the other candidates to attack Trump. And we knew this going in. We knew this was going to happen. In fact, we'd heard rumblings and even mentioned that it was Carly Fiorina's assignment last night to take out Trump. I don't think there needed to be an assignment. Once you call her a horse face, that kind of takes care of Carly being set up to take out Trump. What do you think of that, Snerdley? What do you think of the way she did that? You think that was You know what it illustrated? Brevity is the soul of wit. That answer, what was 27 words, 12 words, not a big long dissertation. And how do you think Trump looked when he said, by the way, she's beautiful? Well, I tell you what, we got a soundbite coming. Gloria Borger was so offended by that. It was the ultimate pander for Trump to look at Carly after all this and call her beautiful. Borger just livid over that, proving you can't win. You just can't win. Stick with the original claim and then take whatever you get from that, but don't. You'd think more men would have learned this by now. According to the people who track these things, 44% of the questions in the second debate were about Trump. Do you believe that? Does that surprise you when I give you that stat? I mean, it doesn't surprise you? 44% of the questions were about Trump. And how about Christie? Christie getting all, hey, Carly, hey, Donald, you're great people. We don't care about your careers. We care about their careers. And that is the only time Fiorina got flustered. That and HP. When Hewlett-Packard was brought up, and next they're going to bring up Lucent. They didn't get to Lucent much later. Yeah, but he didn't get it. That's the next thing. Fortune magazine did a whole profile on Lucent. It's not pretty. They did a hit. Not now. It's an old hit piece. Yeah. Fortune did a piece on Carly at Lucent. I'm just telling you this stuff's all coming. But that's the only time she got flustered. She blinked. She's very proud of her time at Hewlett-Packard. She knows it's one of those things that has a life of its own. The fact she bombed out and failed, and it's tough to. No, I didn't bomb out and fail. Let me try to tell you. Steve Jobs even called it. It's like trying to discredit somebody with hypocrisy. It doesn't work anymore. You can point out all the hypocrisy in the world, and well, okay. For example, it'd be like back in the 80s, people trying to discredit Reagan because he was once a Democrat. It wouldn't work. It didn't matter. It's like if you try to discredit Dr. Krauthammer by saying he once voted for Mondale, it was not going to matter because that's then, this is now. Yeah. I think Dr. Krauthammer worked on the Mondale campaign back in 1984. I'm not sure if he voted or not, but yeah. But the point is that pointing that out now it's not going to discredit Dr. Krauthammer or anybody else. My only point is hypocrisy is not a way of getting people to change their mind. It never does work on our side anyway. Trying to point out the hypocrisy of the left never works. It's frustrating to a lot of people, but it never does. And well, see, Sturtley's asking me, what did I think about the other questions, the non-Trump questions, the climate change question? Well, I've blown a gasket during that. I'm sure you're thinking, as you're watching, that Rush is blowing a gasket. Because they all accepted the premise. I think Rubio's answer was right on the money. Okay, fine. But the Democrat solution, why would we want to destroy our economy? Maybe that's the way to do this. I mean, there's no way. Here's a great example. I don't care what ammunition you have. You are not going to convince Jacob Tapper that global warming is a manufactured political issue by the American and worldwide left. You're not going to convince him. He believes it's real. And so to every other, my little tech bloggers, they all think it's real. There is no fact. There is no amount of data that is going to persuade them that they're wrong about it. There's mountains of it, and it doesn't matter. 18 and a half years, no temperature increase. Now you got Jerry Brown out there saying this drought is global warming, and it's only going to get worse, and he wants new taxes for it. So the way Rubio went about it last night was very smart. Rather than get into an argument, which I would have done, I wouldn't have accepted the premise. The global warming thing's a scam, but the way Rubio did it was to attack their solution as making it worse. And why do we want to punish people? Why do we want to punish our economy when we're the only ones who are going to be doing it? Other polluters, blah, blah, the Chi-Coms and the Indians are not going to change anything. But that question, it was also understandable. Remember, it's CNN asking these questions. And CNN, as an entity, believes in climate change. You have to. Climate change is global warming. Climate change is one of these issues you have to believe in if you are going to be a Democrat or a liberal. You can't not believe in it and be a liberal Democrat. And then, of course, some people are calling it Trump's flip-flop on Carly's appearance. Now thinks that she's beautiful. CNN got that on record, by the way. Yeah, it's now on videotape that Donald Trump thinks Carly Fiorina is beautiful. You know, when they were going through the end of the debate, choose your Secret Service code name. You thought that was lame? Yeah. Those are tough questions. It's like name your top 10 favorite movies. Oh, my gosh, I'm freezing. I can't even think of one. But did you hear what hers was? You don't remember what hers? Yeah, it was a one-worder. Carly Fiorina's Secret Service code word. Secretariat. That's right. I think she was baiting Trump into making another untoward joke. Secretariat's a champion horse. Triple Crown winner. You know, with my hearing, when I first heard her, I thought she said secretary. And I thought, what? And then I figured out secretariat. Put it all together. Baiting Trump. Make another face comment. Okay, sit tight, folks. We got more. Don't go. Welcome back. It's great to have you, Rush Limbaugh, on the cutting edge of societal evolution. Yeah, I've got a whole lot of audio sound bites from the debate. I'm thinking everybody saw them, saw the debate. Maybe not all of you. Here, grab 7 and 8. I referenced these two just a moment ago, so I can knock these out. Maybe number 9 too. This is last night in the debate. This is the moderator, Jacob Tapper. In an interview last week in Rolling Stone magazine, Donald Trump said the following about you. Quote, "Look at that face. Would anybody vote for that? Can you imagine that? The face of our ex-president?" Mr. Trump later said he was talking about your persona, not your appearance. Please feel free to respond what you think about his persona.
It's interesting to me, Mr. Trump said that he heard Mr. Bush very clearly and what Mr. Bush said. I think women all over this country heard very clearly what Mr. Trump said.
I think she's got a beautiful face, and I think she's a beautiful woman.
Okay. I think she's got a beautiful face. I think she's a beautiful woman. As I mentioned to you, Gloria Borger not pleased at all about this last night after the debate on Anderson Cooper 360.
How big a mistake do you think it was for Donald Trump to come back to Carly Fiorina, say, actually,
Terrible.
I think you have a beautiful face?
Terrible. First rule of hold, stop digging. That's what I think. I mean, it was so patronizing.
It was not sincere, she's saying. It was patronizing. He didn't mean it. He should have stuck with what he originally said and not said anything, let the applause go by, and just let it sort of fade away on its own rather than give it more food, give it more energy. Beautiful face, beautiful this. Now, this may be a generational thing. My guess is that you're going to find, depending on the age of the person, you're going to find a difference of opinion here. Some people are going to think that what Trump did was a valiant attempt at apologizing, covering up a mistake. Others are going to agree with Gloria Borger. It was an absolute patronizing comments. Shouldn't have said it because it doesn't look like he really means it or any of that. And on the Today Show today, Savannah Guthrie said, when you say that women in this country heard what Donald Trump said and knew what he meant, let me push you on that a little farther. What do you think women heard when Donald Trump said that about you?
Women are still caricatured and scrutinized and criticized differently. And I think it's only a woman who would be criticized for her appearance while running for the highest office in the land. And so I think women know that. Women deal with that every day. And so I think women understood.
You know, I don't know if that's necessary. Maybe publicly voiced, there might be something to it. But how many? What do you mean there might be? What are you arguing? You don't even know what I'm going to say yet. Okay. I know the fat jokes with Christie. This is going to be my point. But now we've reached another obscene profit break. So keep your pants up, folks. I'll be back here in just a second. And we're back. El Rushmo on the cutting edge of societal evolution. So Gloria Borger's all offended. Look at who she's offended at. So here's Donald Trump says something about Carly Fiorina's face. Then he's called on it, does a flip-flop, and says she's beautiful. Gloria Borger righteously indignant. If you don't want to get indignant, don't ask the question. Deal with the debate moderator here. You guys got exactly what you wanted in that exchange. And then to complain about getting it is kind of disingenuous to me. And this is what bothers me about the drive-bys. They knew exactly what they wanted last night. They want exactly what happened. And then they get it, and they start complaining about it. It was pandering. Meanwhile, the genuine horn dog in chief is out there skating along happily, mindlessly, with no criticism whatsoever, and that's William Jefferson Clinton. And the same people bothered by whatever Trump did or didn't say, and then came back and didn't say or did say, same people applaud Bill Clinton, marvel at what a great guy he is, and it's a double standard that continues to irritate me left and right. If you don't want the answer, Miss Borger, if you don't like it, then don't go there. I thought it was terribly painful. What do you think was going to happen when that comes up? This is what bothers me about these people. This is what bothers me about choosing CNN as a venue. Although I don't know where you go now to do one of these debates, but if you got to know certain things are going to happen at CNN. And one of these things is going to happen is exactly what happened. This debate was designed to make as many of those people on the stage look foolish as possible. And I don't want to hear about me hosting it. I don't want to go there. I wouldn't be any good at it. You people that want me to host one of these things have got to get over it. I wouldn't be any good at it. Because I don't want to do it. If you don't want to do something, you're not going to do it well. And I have no desire to do. I'm not. Believe me. Just believe me. It wouldn't work. I couldn't keep my own opinions out of it. I'd end up dominating a damn thing. It would be panned. It would be ripped to shreds. I destroyed the debate. I couldn't do it. Not that curious anyway. What I think is what counts, and that's what I'm looking for, other people who agree with me. I'm not looking for people to change my mind on something. I know I'm right. I've spent my life arriving at the conclusions I have on the things that matter. I don't want to subject myself to somebody to try to change my mind. So what I want to do that for? That's not what it's about, Mr. Limbaugh. You're there to have those people's opinions spread, and you're to elucidate what they think. I already know what they think. Anyway, I'm just telling you, I'm flattered. Snerdley tells me Twitter was afire last night with this suggestion. In Snerdley's world, Twitter being a fire could be 5 tweets if they are about me. Now, on this, seriously, folks, here you have the Carly Fiorina and Trump situation, and everybody knew, they didn't know when, but everybody knew it was going to happen. And for the media to start, I really don't like them. That's just terrible. If you don't like what the answer is going to be, then don't even go there. It's just kind of disingenuous. You sit there and you build it up, and you telegraph it, get all excited, can't wait for the debate to happen. Then when it does, and exactly what you want to happen happens, that's such a horrible answer. What did you think was going to happen? Did you think Trump was going to continue to insult her when it came up? Maybe they did. Maybe that's what they were trying to, I don't know. But despite that, these people look good last night. Folks, whenever there's conservatism on display, genuine, passionate conservatism, I'm happy. And it was all over the place last night, despite whatever efforts there were to make these people look bad. And I'm not saying I know some people, you talk about being bombarded on Twitter. My email is bombarded. People thought this debate was great last night compared to other debates that they have seen. They thought this was fabulous last night. And you know why? If there was one common theme in all the email praise that I got about this, it was that the candidates were allowed to speak. That there weren't a whole lot of assertions of time limit, expiration, and that kind of thing. And that's probably a pretty good observation. Let me grab a quick call as we get started on this and try to meld everything. Folks, by the way, there's other things that what Barack Obama has done regarding this upcoming visit by the Pope. You seen this? Have you seen the guest list that he's invited to the White House to meet the Pope? Well, let me just share with you. The White House, Obama has invited several opponents of Catholicism and Catholic teaching to meet and greet Il Papa in person. He's going to have a nun who is pro-abortion. He's going to have a transvestite in there, a cross-dressing woman and former co-chairman of the Transgender Caucus for Dignity, a pro-abortion religious sister, an openly gay Episcopal bishop, and 2 Catholic gay activists. This is the group Obama has personally invited to the White House to meet the Pope. Now, some people are saying that this is perfectly Obama. He's got the Pope coming, and he wants to insult the Pope, put pressure on the Pope, and challenge the Pope, because the Catholic Church, and Obama's a leftist, and the leftists hate the Catholic Church. Do not doubt me on that. The Catholic Church is in the top 5 of all-time biggest enemies to the American left, the worldwide left. And so here is in one possibility, it is a designed effort to humiliate, challenge, make nervous, make uncomfortable the Pope. However, there's another possibility. What if... And I'm just throwing it out there as a possibility. What if the Pope has requested a group like this? That, if I were to be told that, it would give me pause, but I would not be totally surprised. I'm not at all surprised that Obama would do this as an in-your-face gesture to the Pope. That doesn't surprise me at all. And I got to thinking, would I be surprised if somebody told me, no, this is who the Pope wants to be there? You're frowning. You don't think that could be possible, do you? Then you aren't paying attention to what's happening out there. Anyway, to the phones, as I promised, Jerry in Dayton, Ohio. Great to have you on the EIB network. Hello, sir.
Hi, Russ. It's an honor.
Thank you very much.
When Carly was asked that question about the presidential code names, once again, you inadvertently gave her the answer. The other day you were discussing the situation with Jeb Bush and his strategy of running steady and coming on late, and then you closed that story with, you can do that except when you're running against Secretariat.
Right.
Secretariat won't quit, won't stop, and will win, keep running till the end. I think Carly was picking Secretariat to show you she's going to run till the end, or at least the Republican Party. She's going to be the representative of the Republican Party.
I wasn't going to mention this because I don't want people to think I'm lost in my own ego here. But I noticed this. I remembered I made that exact comparison. I wondered if anybody would remember this. And here you are, the first caller of the day. I did. It was recently, too. It was somebody just asking me to analyze Bush's strategy. It's exactly as you said. I said you.
Well, I think she. I don't mean to interrupt you. Sorry. I think that she had that little glint in her eye that she knows that's the winner to beat. That's the code name to beat, and you threw it out there first, so you get 100% kudos for that one.
There you go. Well, who am I to say that he's wrong, folks? I mean, I try polite to callers here, so thank you. Thank you very much, Jer. Quick timeout. We'll be back influencing things in the debate even when I don't know I am. Okay, grab soundbite number 3. This is a prediction that I made going into the debate last night. I said it yesterday on this program. Somebody's going to have some sort of secret bit of information about Trump that we haven't heard before that they're going to accuse him of. Or they're going to run a list of names by him and make him defend his relationship with them or his knowledge of them or some such gotcha technique as that. And, of course, it did happen, as Jeb Bush accused Trump of trying to bribe him. Set up legalized gambling in Florida. Audio soundbite number 5. This is from the debate last night. Moderator Jacob Tapper said, Governor Bush, Mr. Trump has repeatedly said that the $100 million you've raised for your campaign makes you a puppet to your donors. Are you?
No, absolutely not. The one guy that had some special interest that I know of that tried to get me to change my views on something that was generous and gave me money was Donald Trump. He wanted casino gambling in Florida.
I didn't want
Yes, you did.
Totally false.
You wanted it, and you didn't get it because I was opposed to casino gambling before, during, and after. I'm not going to be bought by anybody.
I promise, if I wanted it, I would have gotten it.
I tell you, folks, whenever this stuff happened, I just end up laughing. And if I would have wanted it, I would have gotten it. Meanwhile, here's everybody flailing away on the facts of the matter. Let's jump back to soundbite number 4. This is Roger Stone. He was on Fox and Friends this morning, and he's a former Trump campaign senior advisor. He's been gone, I think, for since the middle of August. But Steve Ducey said, "What about Jeb? Jeb was ready with that. You came to me and asked me about trying to get casino gambling in Florida. Did it happen, Roger?"
Having been directly involved in that, let me say that the efforts by Trump to explore casino gaming in Florida happened under Lawton Chiles, not under Jeb Bush. Jeb Bush's position was so well known from the campaign that Trump's efforts ceased under the previous governor. Mallory Horn, the lobbyist hired to do that, was a Democrat close to Lawton Chiles, Jeb's predecessor.
Oh, Trump is right on this. According to Roger Stone, it was Lawton Chiles, walking Lawton, who, by the way, was no dreamboat himself. And it was him that apparently Trump tried to convince to legalize gambling in the state of Florida. It was not Jeb. Now we move back to Trump. After all of this, Trump had his own words.
A lot of money was raised by a lot of different people that are standing up here, and the donors, the special interests, the lobbyists have very strong power over these people. I'm spending all of my money. Nobody has control of me other than the people of this country. I'm going to do the right thing.
Now, this little thing that happened last night, we had a caller yesterday on this program who offered an opinion that if Trump would continue to make this point and to highlight this point and to continue to point out that every one of his opponents is bought and paid for by special interest money, donors, the donor class, or what have you, that he could wrap this up in one night. That the only problem with it is that going forward, how many people do we have in this country independently wealthy enough to fund their own campaigns, willing to do so? So his suggestion was that Trump, in addition to all that, have a suggestion for changing the campaign finance system. Now, this segment in the debate last night was kind of made murky by all the crosstalk that occurred when it was being discussed by Trump and by some of the other candidates, most predominantly Jeb. But it is my humble opinion that amongst those who have really locked on to Trump, this is another one of the big reasons that I think a lot of people in the establishment haven't quite yet really figured out. They know, for example, that Trump's position on illegal immigration and the way he talks about it, the way he characterizes it, they know that that is the number one reason that Trump has as many loyalists as he does. But this is a close second, and it's not talked about much. But I mean, from the standpoint of voters, not inside the Beltway, the standpoint of the average, ordinary American voter, they're fed up with this money system. They are fed up. It's not just that campaign finance needs to be reformed. They are fed up with being aced out by the so-called donor class. People who are supporting Trump in large part are fed up that ideas do not seem to matter anymore, because to them, ideas are what it should all be about. It shouldn't be about somebody's appearance, but TV age, it's going to be. And by the way, remind me, I've got to delve further on this appearance business. I promised to do that 30 minutes ago, and I got sidetracked. I'll make a note to myself, too, because I think everybody does it. Whether they say it or not, everybody is judging every one of those people based on how they look to them. Everybody is. It's just something you don't say. Well, Trump said it. Ooh, that's uncouth. Ooh, that's just not done. Ooh, that's inappropriate, and so forth. But everybody thinks these things. Maybe not the same thing about everybody, but everybody has opinions of the way everybody looks. It's one of those things that's never going to change, and you can't wipe it out of the human brain. You can't legislate it out. You can't penalize it out. You can't, with political correctness, get rid of it. It's just a fact. And in a televised world, it matters more than ever in politics. And a lot of people really resent that and really wish it were about ideas, because it's ideas that are ruining the country, the wrong ideas. And the right ideas can't seem to compete with all this money. So Trump focusing on it, I think it has a much larger impact in solidifying his support than a lot of people are aware. And it's been I think a relatively slow realization on the part. It was just as recently as 2007, don't forget, that the American people en masse, with faxes and emails and phone calls, were able to change congressional action on comprehensive immigration reform. 2007, 8 years ago, that's not that far ago. 8 years ago, public opinion was able to stop Congress in its tracks. Today it can't. Public opinion can't override the money. And that has people just as frustrated, too. So those of you who think Trump didn't do as well as you had hoped, he did in this area, and it's one of the top 5 that matters to a lot of his. Have you heard about the kid that was sent home from school for making a clock and I've been invited to the White House? Wait till you see what this clock this kid made looks like. It's not like the pictures the drive-by media is showing you, folks. So that's coming up, and a lot of other stuff, too.